The Strait of Hormuz is one of the smallest yet most influential waterways on the planet. Stretching between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, this narrow channel serves as the only sea passage connecting the oil-rich waters of the Persian Gulf to the open ocean, through the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean. At its narrowest point, the strait measures about 33 kilometers, or 21 miles, across. Yet within this seemingly modest distance lies one of the world's greatest strategic crossroads, where geography, commerce, history, and international politics converge. Every day, thousands of ships navigate these waters, carrying energy resources, manufactured goods, and essential commodities that sustain economies across the globe. Few places on Earth demonstrate so clearly how a single geographic feature can shape the fortunes of nations. The Strait of Hormuz is bordered by Iran to the north and by Oman and the United Arab Emirates to the south. Although the channel appears broad from above, safe navigation follows designated shipping lanes established under international maritime rules. These traffic lanes allow massive oil tankers, container ships, and cargo vessels to travel safely through one of the busiest maritime corridors in existence. The surrounding coastline is rugged and dramatic, with steep mountains, rocky islands, and deep blue waters that have witnessed thousands of years of human activity. Beneath its calm surface, powerful currents and changing tides remind sailors that nature remains a constant force alongside human ambition. Long before modern tankers crossed these waters, the Strait of Hormuz served as a vital gateway for ancient civilizations. Traders from Mesopotamia, Persia, Arabia, India, and East Africa sailed through this passage carrying spices, pearls, textiles, precious stones, incense, ceramics, and metals. Maritime trade flourished across the Indian Ocean, connecting distant cultures centuries before the modern age of globalization. The strait became an essential link in networks that exchanged not only goods, but also ideas, languages, religions, technologies, and traditions. Ports along the surrounding coast prospered as centers of commerce, while generations of sailors learned to navigate these challenging waters using the stars, seasonal winds, and remarkable maritime knowledge passed down over centuries. During the early 16th century, European exploration brought new competition to these strategic waters. Portuguese forces established control over parts of the region in an effort to dominate trade between Europe and Asia. Fortifications were constructed to protect shipping routes and secure valuable commercial interests. In later centuries, regional powers and expanding European empires continued to recognize the enormous importance of controlling access to the Persian Gulf. As global trade evolved, the Strait of Hormuz remained one of the world's most significant maritime passages, adapting to changing technologies while retaining its timeless geographic value. The discovery of vast petroleum reserves across the Persian Gulf during the 20th century transformed the importance of the strait. Countries including Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates, and Iran became major producers of oil and natural gas. Because the Strait of Hormuz provides the primary maritime outlet for much of this energy production, it rapidly became one of the most strategically important shipping routes in modern history. A substantial portion of globally traded crude oil and liquefied natural gas passes through these waters each day. Tankers carrying millions of barrels of oil travel to markets across Asia, Europe, and other regions, making the uninterrupted flow of maritime traffic essential to the global economy. The economic significance of the strait extends far beyond energy exports. Modern container ships transport machinery, vehicles, electronics, food products, industrial materials, and countless other goods through these waters. Every vessel represents a link in complex international supply chains that connect producers, manufacturers, retailers, and consumers around the world. Delays or disruptions in this narrow passage can influence shipping schedules, transportation costs, insurance rates, and commodity prices on a global scale. The Strait of Hormuz demonstrates how a relatively small geographic corridor can influence everyday life for people living thousands of kilometers away. Because of its extraordinary strategic value, the strait has often attracted international attention during periods of regional tension. Naval forces from several countries regularly operate in nearby waters to protect commercial shipping, maintain freedom of navigation, and support maritime security. International cooperation has become increasingly important as global trade continues to depend on safe passage through this critical waterway. Maritime authorities coordinate navigation systems, monitor shipping traffic, and respond to emergencies to reduce risks in one of the busiest sea lanes on Earth. Despite its reputation as a center of geopolitical interest, the Strait of Hormuz is also a remarkable natural environment. The surrounding waters support diverse marine ecosystems adapted to warm temperatures and high salinity. Coral communities, fish, sea turtles, dolphins, and migratory seabirds inhabit parts of the region, although environmental pressures continue to present challenges. Coastal habitats include mangroves, tidal flats, and rocky shorelines that provide breeding grounds for marine life. Conservation efforts seek to balance economic activity with the protection of these fragile ecosystems, recognizing that environmental health and sustainable maritime use are closely connected. Climate conditions in the region are among the harshest experienced by major commercial shipping routes. Summer temperatures often exceed 40 degrees Celsius, while humidity can become extremely high along the coast. Strong sunlight, occasional dust storms, and seasonal winds create demanding conditions for navigation and maritime operations. Advances in satellite technology, weather forecasting, radar systems, and modern navigation equipment have greatly improved safety compared to earlier centuries, but experienced crews still rely on careful planning and constant vigilance while passing through the strait. The Strait of Hormuz is also home to numerous islands, each contributing to the region's unique geography. Some islands support local communities with long maritime traditions based on fishing, pearl diving, and coastal trade. Others have gained strategic importance because of their location near international shipping lanes. Over centuries, these islands have reflected the cultural diversity of the wider Gulf region, where Persian, Arab, South Asian, and African influences have blended through generations of maritime exchange. For coastal communities, the sea has always been far more than a transportation route. It has provided food, employment, and cultural identity for countless generations. Traditional wooden dhows still sail parts of the Gulf, preserving centuries-old shipbuilding techniques that continue alongside modern ports filled with advanced cargo terminals and enormous tankers. This remarkable contrast between ancient maritime heritage and cutting-edge global commerce makes the Strait of Hormuz a living example of continuity through change. Modern ports surrounding the Persian Gulf rank among the world's busiest export hubs. Sophisticated terminals load crude oil, liquefied natural gas, petrochemicals, and manufactured products onto ships bound for destinations across every inhabited continent. Massive storage facilities, pipelines, and shipping infrastructure operate around the clock, illustrating the enormous logistical network that depends upon the uninterrupted operation of this narrow maritime passage. Every successful voyage reflects careful coordination between engineers, harbor authorities, shipping companies, pilots, navigators, and international maritime organizations. Although alternative pipelines exist for transporting some oil around the strait, they cannot fully replace the enormous volume carried by sea. Maritime shipping remains the most efficient method for transporting large quantities of energy resources to international markets. As global demand for energy continues to evolve, the Strait of Hormuz remains one of the world's most essential transportation corridors, regardless of changing technologies or shifting economic priorities. Beyond economics and strategy, the Strait of Hormuz reminds us of the enduring power of geography. Human history has repeatedly shown that certain natural passages become gateways through which civilizations rise, trade flourishes, and cultures meet. Mountains, deserts, rivers, and seas often determine the paths people follow, and few places illustrate this truth more clearly than this narrow channel connecting the Persian Gulf to the wider world. Its significance has endured through ancient kingdoms, imperial rivalries, industrial revolutions, and the modern era of globalization. Today, satellites monitor ships crossing the strait in real time, while sophisticated navigation systems guide vessels safely through designated routes. Yet despite remarkable technological advances, the fundamental reality remains unchanged. The world continues to depend on this narrow stretch of water, much as earlier civilizations depended upon it centuries ago. Geography has given the Strait of Hormuz a role unlike almost any other place on Earth, a place where natural landscapes shape global commerce, diplomacy, and international security. Whether viewed as a breathtaking natural gateway, a masterpiece of geography, or one of the world's most fragile economic lifelines, the Strait of Hormuz continues to influence events far beyond its shores. It is a place where ancient trade routes meet modern supertankers, where rugged coastlines overlook one of the busiest shipping corridors in history, and where the movement of a single day's maritime traffic can affect industries, markets, and households around the globe. In a world increasingly connected by commerce and technology, the Strait of Hormuz stands as a timeless reminder that sometimes the smallest passages hold the greatest power, linking continents, sustaining economies, and shaping the course of history itself. While much of the world's attention focuses on the tankers that cross the Strait of Hormuz, the waterway is equally important for the movement of countless other cargoes that sustain modern life. Every day, container ships carrying electronics, automobiles, construction materials, food products, medical equipment, and consumer goods pass through the strait on their journeys between Asia, the Middle East, Europe, and Africa. These vessels are part of an immense global logistics network where ports, shipping companies, railways, and highways operate together with remarkable precision. A delay in one critical maritime corridor can ripple through supply chains across continents, affecting factories, retailers, and consumers thousands of kilometers away. Behind every successful voyage lies an extraordinary level of planning and coordination. Modern commercial vessels rely on satellite navigation, electronic charts, advanced radar systems, automatic identification technology, and continuous communication with coastal authorities. Captains and crews carefully follow internationally recognized traffic separation schemes designed to reduce the risk of collision in this busy waterway. Maritime pilots, port operators, engineers, meteorologists, and logistics specialists all contribute to ensuring that thousands of ships move safely through the strait every year. Although today's technology is vastly different from that of ancient sailors, the essential challenge remains unchanged.